Today I'm going to share with you one of the best $400,000 investment that my high-income clients feel their parents have made. It is not in property or stocks. This $400,000 investment enabled a number of my clients to pursue their dream career to become lawyers and doctors, even though they did not secure a place in law or medical school in Singapore. Now, I want you to picture this. It is A levels and your child have always done well in his prelims. You expect your child to make it into NUS or NTU medical school. When your child finally comes home with his A level results, his face looks dejected. He underperformed in one subject and now he is likely to miss out on entering medical school in Singapore. What if missing out on NUS and NTU is not the end of the story? So some people may ask, exactly how competitive is law and medical school intake? If I were to pull out the numbers from NUS admission figures, right, law school takes in about 240 students in a year, and medical school takes in about 280 students. That's a very small number in relation to the total population of an enrollment cohort at any one point of time. Most parents who wish to plan for education planning minimally want to cater for certainty, and this means having enough to fund studies in the 6 local unis. Even within these choices, most parents are really planning for a regular university education. This often does not take into consideration studying law and medicine. I learned from my clients who studied in these schools locally that the cost of education for law and medicine costs more than other more common disciplines. For example, NTU medicine school costs about 36k each year. So some parents may ask, so what exactly should they be planning for? Nowadays, when I have an education planning conversation with my clients, my question will include asking them if they wish to make provisions for local university medical and law school, which we have already established is more expensive than most of the other courses in Singapore. Next, I'll ask them if they want to cater for optionality. What if their children's grades are good enough for overseas law and medical school, but miss out on the entry requirement locally? Would they prefer if their kids settle for their second or third choice option in Singapore? From my experience talking to many parents, many children from high-income families still end up settling for second or third choice. One of the reasons is because education planning to most parents only means catering for local education, and if their kids have relatively good grades, their mindset is as long as their child can get into one of the 3 local unis, regardless of the course that they enter, it is good enough. Usually only parents who benefited from the opportunity to study overseas in medicine and law fully understand the benefits of making provisions for it. Personally, I work with clients who study overseas in medicine and law who are now working as doctors and lawyers in Singapore. Some of them share with me that they are very thankful for the opportunity to study a course of their interest. They acknowledge that the school fees are hefty, and many are very grateful to their parents for this opportunity. Is it worth the investment? Some of you might ask. Many of them are in their mid-30s and draw an income close to $250,000. Had these clients stayed in Singapore and settled for a course like engineering or pharmaceutical science, they are likely to earn closer to a lower 6-figure amount, assuming they manage to climb the corporate ladder. Let's take a look at what does it actually cost to study medicine locally compared to overseas. Here's a graph showing the cost to study medicine in Australia. So if we compare it with NTU Medical School for a 5-year course, that would be 180k Sing versus 400k Sing, assuming a Singaporean can't get into local medical school and has to go Australia. That is almost 2.3 times the cost needed. I would say the cost to budget for overseas education ranges between 400k to 500k. This would cater for both school fees and living expenses. While I use medical school as an example, optionality stretches beyond medical school or law school. It could be pursuing talents where the development opportunities are better overseas, like music, fashion design, or heading to prestigious culinary school at Le Cordon Bleu. I would say parents who make provisions for overseas education generally do it with the mindset that they are funding choices. It is really answering the question, if your child has potential or interest in a certain discipline, do they have the opportunity to consider it as an option, or do they end up studying 4 years in the course they really have no interest in? When it comes to education planning, I think it is a good idea to cater for 2 tracks: certainty track and optionality track. I define the certainty track as minimally making provisions to fund an education in Singapore, while the optionality track is defined as a good to have. This includes studying overseas, as well as having enough for law and medical school locally. If parents tell me they just want to ensure the bare minimum is there, they are essentially only making provision for the certainty track. This means saving up at least $40,000 in today's value, which can pay for majority of the courses in Singapore. This is very achievable for most Singaporean parents because it is less than $250 per month over the next 15 years. On the other hand, the optionality track is a stretch goal, and if we are looking at a pure savings effort, it would mean setting aside at least $2,000 every month. This can be quite rich even for some high-income parents if we take into account ongoing expenses like enrichment classes or expensive mortgages. This is where many of my clients find it useful to have someone to guide them through this journey. The only way to use less resources to still achieve this stretch goal is to invest their funds for potentially higher returns. And since these funds is for education planning, it is important to structure it with a risk-managed approach so that there's still an element of predictability to cater for different market conditions. This is akin to setting up a $400,000 education insurance. To these parents, this helps them secure the safety net for their child to fail safely. Education in Singapore is too competitive, and sometimes, even with resources, parents can't guarantee whether their kids can get into the school of their choice locally. By creating an avenue to have options, this is the ultimate next best advantage. If you would like more frameworks like these for high-income families in Singapore, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.